All right, recording.
All right. And now, introduction in 3, 2, 1. Hello, hello. Welcome to the Thoughts on Why podcast, where we discuss everything yaoi and why sao, all things boys love in this bitch.
Hey, I'm your host, Jay.
Hey, I'm your host, Slay. Good morning, good afternoon to anybody out there. Today we are going to be talking about Kun Am and his new film, Present So Perfect. He's also the director of Two Moons 2 and Present Perfect. And now with his release of his new film, we would like to, talk about this director and what he's attributed to the boys love community, the LGBT community. He is LGBT himself, which I feel gives more essence and emotion to the series and to the movies than, dare I say it, a straight director. No offense to them, but you can give more energy from experience than you can from seeing something. So we're gonna talk about that. That's today's topic. Yeah. Jay, what did you think about Present Perfect?
So, it wasn't a film for me. I like indie films, but I think because it was the trope that made me leave BL for a while in the first place, where the couple does not end up together. Like, it wasn't, and not everything needs a happy ending, but at the time when the movie came out, almost all BL had an unhappy ending. Either somebody got hurt, somebody died, somebody decided to live straight, and I was just really tired of it. I particularly didn't like that ending, even though I just watched it like last week, 2 weeks ago, one of the two, because I didn't watch it. Also, I felt it was a little slow for me, because I felt like by the time we got to the conflict of the couple, it was the end.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, okay, so that's it. And I particularly didn't like it. I did like the story in the sense that it wasn't a lot of trauma. Like, somebody didn't hurt somebody to get together. Like, nobody was kidnapping, raping anybody.
Yeah, it was just like super casual. Boy meets boy. Boys live in a moment.
It was more realistic. It was way more realistic. Yeah. Compared to a lot of BL tropes, which I appreciated dearly, because I'm kind of sick of, somebody having to get assaulted or raped or uncomfortable and so on and so forth. So I liked the story. The cinematography was really good to me. I liked the characters in general. The movie just didn't do it for me.
Well, I'm opposite. I did enjoy the movie because, like her, I am a big fan of indie films, and I enjoyed how the story was told. I enjoyed how although, like she said, they didn't wind up together, they still were able to kind of live in a moment that maybe they've always been afraid to live in, because internally, you could be screaming at the top of your lungs that you're attracted to like a certain sex, and that it feels right, but like societal pressures it just pushes that all down. It just compresses it, and you can't. So if you're like outside of, let's say, your own country, your own like like the eyes of your country, and you're kind of living in an escape, you can also live like, you know, you can live through it. I don't know how to explain. Like, you could just live through that escape, and it's great. And it's something that, even if it's not gonna last, at least I had it, you know, compared to if we're always ducking and hiding and we're always like watching the other's back. It's like, here's the moment, take it, and then like you just see that now that you've had that moment, you loved it so much, but now reality kind of like karate chopped your ass into reality.
Right.
So now you're back to just like, shit, now what do I do?
Right.
Where do I go? How do I feel? Like, what now? And it's like, the only thing you can do is say goodbye. And I enjoy it. And it felt cliffhangery. It felt like there was supposed to be something else. It felt like, or there could be something more, or this could get resolved or not resolved, or there could be closure. Like, where's the closure, you know? And it's good that he made Present Still Perfect, because for me, he's giving the audience the closure or the triumph that we would want for these characters. But either way, we get to see the full circle.
Right.
You know, and since he's doing this himself, he's not hindered to conform to anything. This is all coming from him. This is who like, we get to see the director tell his story perfectly and execute it the way he only knows how, you know, like compared to if, you know, with Two Moons 2, although it was, you know, beautifully made and beautifully directed by him, he was still hindered. This wasn't like his, you know, it wasn't actually his baby, you know, so it was like, he was like an au pair. He was an au pair to Two Moons 2, where yes, he was raising and teaching and contributing to what became a great show, but it wasn't his. And like an au pair, although he did good, it's like his good wasn't good enough, and so they changed staff for whatever reason. You know, and it's like, when something's not broke,
don't fix it.
Exactly. When something is already polished with a certain polisher, don't fucking change the product because somebody told you that polisher is not as good as this polisher. You know, like Kun because
I realized he's not P. He's not P.
I am older than him. Oh my god. You know, that's how much you see. I don't stalk, okay? So shit surprises me about people. Like, I'm not the type to like stalk your whole life. So you're older than me by default half the time, and then I find out you're not even older than me, and then I'm like, well, fuck it all. You are younger. Surprise. So Kun is someone who's straightforward and someone who tells it like it is.
Yeah, he does not bite his tongue whatsoever.
Yeah, and a lot of people need a lot of sugar. They need it sweet. They can't handle the
truth.
Yeah, they can't handle the honesty. They can't handle the bluntness. You have to understand, when he says things, especially when it comes to the entertainment industry, I've said this before, I even have tweets on it where I say, until you look under the veil, you don't know what's going on. And sometimes you looking under the veil, you are not going to like what you see, what you hear about certain people.
Right.
And he's also making a documentary trying to go under the veil when it comes to certain things.
I am so excited for.
Yes. Will he get enough? I hope. Do people have a lot to lose or gain from this? Yes. So will they be open to it? Of course
Maybe
not.
not.
Exactly. 9 times out of course not. Depending on where he's going to get the information, a lot of people are like, no, I'm not telling you shit. So other people are like, yeah, I'll tell. I don't care. Say love you. It's gonna have to come out sometime. But he's not the type to sit there and feed you a buffet and tell you that your stomach's not gonna hurt. He's gonna feed you the buffet and he's gonna tell you it's so good, but your stomach's going to hurt because you're gonna intake so much information and you're gonna want to stop, but you're gonna keep going because now you want the information. You want to consume everything because it's out there. Maybe that's why they changed him. I don't know.
It's also,
I know
he does speak a lot about politics, and he said people tell him not to. But I mean, politics are life, and whether it's a show for entertainment or not, it still has politics in it. Like, it still depicts real life.
Yeah, and I mean, I did see, so I don't know if this is true, but when I was like trying to figure out, because a lot of people were like, we're glad that he's not going to be doing 2 months straight, and I'm like, why?
I don't understand, because like, it's his cast.
Yeah, something, I don't know, racially was going on. I don't know. I don't have the tweets anymore. And we made this podcast, I didn't actually think we were gonna go in depth into anyone. And I don't like to go in depth on anyone when it's tweets, because you can tweet anything. I honestly need to hear it come out the individual's mouth, or I need to hear it from somebody that personally knows them that can confirm it.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, a tweet's a tweet. Like, like, you can say anything in a damn tweet and it's not true. So, like, I don't know if that's another reason. But if that is, then again, listen. We are all dumbasses. All of us. Kind of like in a fucking globe. Literally, we are a bubble of dumbasses. Okay? We are. We make mistakes every day. You forgive for yourself, but you never forget their name. You never forget their face. You never return to it. If it's a small mistake, forgive it, but never forget it. And I know people are like, no, you should forgive and forget. No, you never forget. You don't let it consume you, but you do not forget it. Because you need to see the growth in that person. If that person continues to make the same mistakes and there is no growth, there is no change, this is just that person. And then you need to cut them off completely. But if the person is someone who is remorseful and you see they don't make the same mistake, you cannot let the indiscretion from, let's say, 6 years ago hinder yourself from enjoying their art. You know what I'm saying? Like, know who they are, because you said it. It came out your mouth. You said it. But now, have they changed?
Right.
Don't forget it. You said what you said, and I want you to remember that you said it. I do. I honestly, for anyone. Okay? Anyone. If you say something that is, especially against a race, weight, mental state, anything, you said it. I don't care if it was in anger, pure emotion, a slip of the tongue. You said it.
Right.
But I need to know when you said it, and then I need to know from then moving forward who the hell you are. What did that do to you? Did that make you better or did that make you worse?
Right.
Were you coddled over it? Were you told it's okay? Because no, it's not okay. And every day you are walking on eggshells, and people are walking on eggshells with you, and that's something that you have to live with. So for me, from where I was when I was introduced to which was for Present Perfect, I personally didn't hear anything. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, where did those tweets come from? And for me, I felt those were trolly tweets. Can I say they are not, or they are, or they aren't? Like I can't confirm or deny what they were and why these people were saying it. But since I know that the profile pictures were of Black Boys Love fans, this did bother them. That I can remember. The profile pictures were not, no, these were of melanin ladies who were very, like, good. We're glad he shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Unless they were mixing him up, and let me put this out there too, unless you were mixing up the first motherfucking director with him, because he did not direct Two Moons.
Right.
So if the Two Moons director was racist, that's why he didn't direct Two Moons 2, sweetie. Because if that were the case, I think it was the Two Moons director. Because he did it with God's ass, with the homophobic shit.
Right.
So if you're mixing them up, shame on you. Because those are two different men, and you just literally combined them for whatever reason. Because I think I did see that
Right.
They said something about Two Moons and they had put that boy in there.
Right.
So, like I said, either way, if he said it, if he didn't say it, I don't care. You need to move, y'all need to move on from it, because honestly, Two Moons 2 was perfectly directed, and that means that Two Moons 3 would have been perfectly directed. And he possibly, because you always compete with yourself and you always want things to be better, he would have made that 10 times better than what was already good. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm gonna have to disagree with the perfectly directed part. I had issues with some things, but
we'll speak on it. We're talking about.
I did enjoy it as a whole. I was one of the people that wasn't gonna watch Two Moons 2 because I'm one of the few people in this world that actually enjoyed the original Two Moons. And it's like, y'all really not bringing my cast back? Oh, screw y'all. Because I actually thought Two Moons was directed rather well. And I don't know if it's necessarily I had an issue with the directing or if I had an issue with the acting. Okay, never mind. I did have very much of an issue with certain parts of the acting because it was really stiff for some people. And I felt it was not... It kind of felt amateurish at certain points for me. But I think that also had to do with having a cast of people that had never acted before.
Yeah.
So it could have been that, or it could have been a mixture of both. There were certain times that in the show where I was just like, all the extras are way better. They're more loose, and it feels more natural. And all the main characters seem really stiff. And I think that also comes from Two Moons. I didn't feel everybody was so stiff in Two Moons. So that was just my opinion. However, I did end up enjoying the show. And I think it was just I didn't want to start over. I had already watched Two Moons. If there was going to be another Two Moons, I would like it to be a continuation. But then I had to start the story all over again. And I still didn't get a conclusion. And I think that's what really annoyed me the most. But I think maybe it was mainly the cast. However, I love all the 6 moons. But I think that was just really my biggest issue. at some points it felt real new. Like, it felt green, and it kind of
super
like,
green.
Yeah, it was kind of like, why are they on my screen? So I think that was my issue. But
Yeah.
as Kunam as a person, I could say Piam. He's older than me. I'll just say Kun now. Kunam, I actually like. I follow him on Twitter, and I like what he says. So far, I've never had an issue with anything he said, even if I don't agree with it. I respect the man immensely. I like when people are honest. Like,
yeah.
And even when people like hold their tongue for certain things, I prefer when people are genuinely, the majority of the time, honest and don't sugarcoat shit. Don't listen to people about you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't say that. I hate when people do that shit. It's really annoying because as a human, regardless of if I'm a creative person, regardless of if I'm an artist, I'm a person. And if I live in this place, if I live in this country, and I don't agree with the politics, I feel like I should be able to say what the fuck I want to. Especially if it has to deal with, like, my way of life, or things hindering me, or impeding on my human rights. Like, I should be able to say that. I should be able to put it in my art, because art should be a reflection of your life and the society and surroundings you're in. And I think Kunam does that really well, even though people don't like it.
But I think that's why, like, with Present Still Perfect and Present Perfect, I think that's why he has so much passion about both of those projects, because he's pulling the strings, he's molding the story. And yeah, I love reading Piam's tweets, love that. Like, I feel like he's just, it's like, it's out there, which, you know, with anybody, it's a hit or miss always, you know. Right. But I feel like him living with no regrets is what gives him, I feel like, an up when it comes to the directors, because he's sitting there consciously knowing that whatever he says, it could go either way.
Right.
And for some people, that's not the case. Some people are very cautious with what they say, and I feel like he isn't, which is good, because it's genuine, it's authentic. But yeah, it could, you know, it's a hit. Like I said, again, it's a hit or miss. It's a this can happen, that can happen. But let's go into Present Still Perfect. What are you excited for? After seeing Present Perfect, where do you want it to go? Before you see it, where do you want it to go?
I can't tell you I want it to go anywhere, because I'm conflicted. Morally, in my head, I'm conflicted. So, one of the characters has a whole family, and I can't, in my head, say, leave your family and be with this man. Because, one, the kid didn't ask you to be an asshole and go back to your girlfriend and then marry her, have a kid, and then, you know, lie about your own emotions and sexuality. But then it's also like, I also think it's wrong to stay with your wife when you don't actually love her or want her. Well, you might love her. I can't say you don't love her. But that's not the person you want to be with. And then it's not fair to the man you want to be with, and it's not fair to yourself. So I'm emotionally and morally conflicted.
Okay.
Honestly, where I want it to go is, I just want everybody to separate. I think the wife deserves better. I think, God, I can't remember the character's name. I'm drawing a whole blank. I am having a brain fart. The guy who got left, I want him to get over the dude and find someone that actually genuinely wants him and will stay with him. And the dude that got married, I just want him to be alone and figure out what he wants in life.
Why?
What do you mean why? I just said why. Like, I don't think he really should be with anybody. I think if you're confused about what you want, you shouldn't be with anybody, because all you're doing is bringing down that person. Whether he picked his wife or he picked the man he was in love with, if he's not sure, he's just screwing over either one.
And by the way, the characters' names are Toei and Oat.
Thank you. I have a total brain fart.
Okay, so for me, I agree with you. I don't think they should get together. But I do think that they do need to come to terms with
what happened. I agree with that.
Yes, they need to and yes, he needs to, he needs to figure stuff out. And yes, maybe he does need to leave his wife and try to figure out like what's going on, because I mean the kid's still young right now, and if the wife, which we highly doubt, but if the wife has some understanding, maybe she can later on explain to her child, like, the reason me and your father broke up, it wasn't about you, it wasn't about, anything. We did love each other, but we didn't love each other that way.
Right, and it still gives at least the wife time, because the child is young and they've only been married a few years. Even though they have been together for years, they've only been married for a few years. It gives her time to mourn the ending of her relationship, grieve it, and come to terms and understanding. Because I'm imagining for myself, it would be a lot for me if I find out, okay, this trip we had, our bachelor and bachelorette trip, he cheated on me. One, whether it was a guy or girl, that's a lot. Two, he genuinely cares for this man. Like, it wasn't just a hookup and, maybe he still remembers him just because it was a hot night. No, he has a connection with this man. So, I'm not the only person he cares for emotionally.
And by the way, that will always hurt more.
Right.
Than someone
physically cheating on you.
Yeah, an emotional connection to someone is death. It's death itself, because you're sitting there and you're thinking that this person is so like, what's that word, like, so vulnerable with you. Right. And they're so themselves with you, at least you thought, compared to, a physical connection, which that's just like one layer. If you didn't even break through the most important layer, which is the emotional one, that shit hurts 10 times more. That shit is so painful. That, like, for a male-female relationship, a male-male relationship, a female-female relationship, bruh, that would kill the strongest person. So no, you gave your whole heart and soul to a person where you connected to them emotionally, physically, mentally, and they were just half the person.
Right. Yeah. That connection was not the same on their end. It was not reciprocated. That's a lot. And then she would have to come to terms with, for all these years they've been married, my husband has been thinking about someone else. So all the moments we've shared as a married couple, since my husband has known this man, it's not the same. then it's also like, well, did I basically force him into this? Like, you're going to go through stages in your head and in your emotions and in your heart, and like, did I force him to marry me? Like, did I force him to have this kid with me? And so, if at least it happens early on, because the kid looks like 1 or 2 in the trailer, if at least it happens early on, they can heal enough to where they can co-parent.
Exactly. I mean, I would hope for that. I hope that's where this story's going. I hope that, you know, like yes, if the two, if Toei and O get together, they get together. You know, I think, you know, anyone who's big fans of the show, or they're gonna be like, oh my god, yeah, I want them to be together. Oh my god, yes, please be together. But I think if we're going with realism, then no, they shouldn't be together.
They should.
If we're going with just want a happy ending, then yeah, of course they, you know. But I think they shouldn't be together, and I think that they should just take this last moment to kind of open up, I guess, like Pandora's box, if you will. Free themselves from like everything that's trapping them, you know. Because sometimes even guilt will make you think you have feelings for somebody, and I think that's where also a lot of storylines go, especially when it comes to the gay community. It goes with guilt. Like, I feel bad for doing this, or I feel bad for doing that, and I can't get that person on my mind, so it has to be love. But no, it's more guilt. It's more, you kind of used him to fuel your sexuality that you're hiding. You're using her to hide your sexuality. You got them both dangled. And is it fair? Absolutely not. I say either. It isn't fair. So how do you remedy it? You close those chapters and you go forth into your own chapter. Because, like, I mean, you know, I feel like Piam is showing a very human aspect to a man who's married, and a man that he does have a connection to,
right,
has come back into his life, and the feelings never left, you know. But do you look at that person, right, and say, the feelings never left, but I'm still unsure if I'm ready to come out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, is this gonna be another moment for them? Like, that's what I'm afraid of. Like, I don't want this movie to be another moment for them. And then a moment where everything just kind of shatters, because it's like, no more moments. It's either the here and now or nothing at all, you know?
Right. And I think, like, even if he isn't gay, he might be bi, but even if he just wanted to have a family, it's the wrong way to go about it. And also,
yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't want them to be together, because anybody that can basically start a relationship with you and then disappear and not tell you, I don't think they should have the time of day. Like, I hate when people, basically, he ghosted him in the most severe way.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, this one really has to. This one's like up in the air. I'm excited for it. I think that's what excites me more, just because I don't know what's gonna happen. So I'm like, ooh. I'm like, this could really piss me off, or make me go, oh yay, I'm glad for this, or it can make me go, oh, I mean, you know, it's Kun Am's direction. There's
right.
nothing we can do about that situation. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. You know, I wish that we knew film distributors out here that we could like get it in theaters out here. That would be wicked. That would be so freaking cool. I think that would be so great for him, for it to be shown internationally and it's in theaters and it's like, whoa, this is freaking cool, you know? That would be epic. And I think that he will get there. I believe that this is not the, you know, that he isn't in the director, but I feel like his time is coming where he's gonna, you know, he's gonna get something that's really gonna like leave a mark, you know, and a good one. So, you know, that's my hope. That is my hope for him.
I do hope Peon gets the recognition he deserves. Whether he only does indie films, which if he does, like, I hope he gets the recognition at film festivals. And even with this film, although I didn't like the first one, I actually am anticipating the story continuance. I feel like Peon gives us reality in a fantasy.
Yes, which that's what I love about him the most.
Yes, it's fiction, it's a movie, it's entertainment, but it's lifelike. It depicts what really happens in life. And although I don't want the two main leads to get together, I do want to see the emotional turmoil of them and them meeting again, because that's realness. Like, you can have a fling or an ex and you see them again and all of it comes back up, and even though you know they're toxic or you don't need to be with them, it's not gonna work. You still crave to be back in that relationship with them, and you still hope for it, you still wish for it, you still try for it and push for it. And I want to see that, because I've felt that through somebody. Like, I knew somebody was totally wrong for me. I saw them a while later, and it's like, but I felt something for them. I want to feel it again. And I want to see that play out. Like, we don't really get to see that in BL. It's either...
Yeah, not at all. Like,
right. It's either terrible...
I like grown-up stuff. I like grown-up-ish.
It's either absolutely tragic, terrible ending. They don't end up together. They're terrible to each other. Or, okay, somehow it wraps up and everything works out. But it doesn't make sense that everything worked out and got wrapped up in a pretty little bow. Like, because that's not life. Like,
exactly. You need to see the pain. You need to see reality. You need to see, like, sometimes people just don't end up together, and sometimes you're just seeing those escape, you know, the escape of each other, you know, and even if it's wrong, you know, because I mean, if anybody who thinks cheating is a wrong, yeah, it is wrong, but being trapped is also really messed up and really wrong and really sad. And, you know, to see that reality of a man who is trapped in his own sexuality is a reality. It's what happens.
And sometimes women in that relationship are trapped and they don't know it until they realize that, oh, this person doesn't love me. And that's something that happens to people, whether they cheated with someone of the opposite sex or of the same sex. Like, and it's really upsetting and it's really sad and tragic that somebody that had nothing to do with the issue or what the husband did is suffering, and then the kid suffers because they see it even though parents think they're hiding it. So it's a lot of aspects to the whole story, and I enjoy the fact that Peon made the character so multifaceted in that point. And I kind of want, and I guess the reason why I don't want them to end up together, I want certain types of people in the BL fandom to get that not everything has to be a happy ending. Some things are just not meant to be a happy ending, and sometimes we can't make toxic behavior somehow turn out to where it's acceptable.
Yeah, and I think that they also need to see when a beautiful farewell is just a beautiful farewell. Like, they need to see when you're not, your ideal of love is not always someone else's ideal, and your like hope and need for love and your hope and need for everyone to always be together that's not always the case. Sometimes you meet that person again to say goodbye. You don't necessarily meet that person to say, okay, now we get to be together, because why now do we get to be together compared to when before you were so conflicted, but now you want to be together. Like when I've lived like in pain, when I've lived in turmoil, when I've lived with the why can't we be together? And sometimes that reality needs to be shown where that person has that strength to say, you know what, this was great, but I don't think we should keep going, you know? Like, I think I love you enough to say goodbye to you. I think I love you enough to hope you grow and to hope you're free and to hope that one day you find someone when you're free and you two can be free together. So I don't know.
And sometimes some people
what's going
just
on
need
there?
to...
Something's going on. Wait. I disrupted this program because something happened.
It's the ghetto bird.
Oh my god, it's the ghetto bird. See, I don't know what the ghetto bird is. That's the helicopter.
It's the police
in the
helicopter
hood.
looking for somebody.
Yep, in the hood. That's like
real life. Some of you guys need to experience real life.
Exactly. That's why you will always get the raw nitty gritty podcast from us. That sometimes you're gonna hear shit and you're gonna go, oh snap, what's that? It's gonna be like duck. That's because you know what? It's the hood.
Right.
It's hood shit. So it happens.
Right.
Just gotta live with it. That's why we give you nice music to go along with it, to block the hood sometimes. Because if we don't have the background music, whoa, you gonna hear some stuff.
Right. And sometimes I think people just need to realize that not everything is acceptable. Like, you just can't get out of being an asshole in life. Things have consequences, and some people have to go through the consequences of their actions. It's just, it is what it is. But I'm really happy for Piam that he got to make Present Still Perfect, and he got to finish his story. Like, I'm really happy for him, and I really hope.
So am I. Congratulations. Successful. Yes, congratulations to Kun Susu. I hope that this gets so much attention, so many eyes. I hope that I hope now with the Boys of community gaining more traction, I'm kind of hoping that it gets even more traction than the first film did. I hope that, you know, people love it, and I hope that when people see it, however they do see it, that they're able to say, wow, this was a great ending, a great farewell to the characters, to the story, you know, and then they look forward to, you know, anything more. I look forward to your documentary. I look forward to any future series that's coming out. I hope you make it like an adult series, like My Right to series. I hope you go that route, because I would like to see more adult series, to be
I would
honest.
too. I'm really tired of somebody being in college, being in high school. As much as I do enjoy the shows, I am going to be 30 soon. I live an adult life. And I think Piam would be able to show that. And the maturity you have to have as an adult. And not everything works out. And not everything, will work out when you want it to work out. You gotta do other stuff to work around it. And relationships are hard.
Exactly. And with that, because I want to say something about relationships quick fast. Not all relationships are fucking peachy kink bitches, alright? Sometimes you want to wring your partner's neck. And I want to see that in this series. I want to see two people look at each other and see all their pet peeves about each other, and I want to see people express that through their eyes. I want you to be able to see two people living together and them realizing they're living together and realizing, oh my god, he picked up the pickle from the floor and ate the pickle. I want to see that in a freaking series. I want to see, and then I want to like see just people be like, oh, but I love this person so much.
It's just like sometimes
you look at
your significant other and you like, I want to kill them.
Yeah, like, I want to kill them. I love them, but I want to kill them.
The way he chews annoys me. Like,
yes.
Why hasn't he fixed it yet? But then,
and I want to see all of that in a series. I want to see all of that.
Like your sink breaks and it's spraying water at you, and he comes in to rescue you and fixes it and turns it off, and then you're like, oh, he's my hero. Like little crap. We don't always have to have like somebody's about to get assaulted, so somebody comes in and saves us. There's little crap, okay? And that's the cutest shit ever. Like I want to see.
And the shit that we want to see. We want to see them freaking, I don't know, trying to accumulate how much money is being put into savings.
Like I want to see them have to like decide on who's paying bills.
Yes.
Because I really am tired of this trope of one rich dude is taking care of all of us. Like,
yeah. And I want to see them raising a kid together. I want to see them going through the trials and tribulations of trying to adopt as same-sex couples and having to lean on each other.
Or
I want to see all of that.
Going through the marriage process. Like,
yes.
Is there one of you guys whose parents don't accept it? Like, maybe since you can't get married, somebody's parents is accepting, and they adopt the other one, so you guys could technically be married. Like, you could be on each other's family registry, and you could take their name. Like, I want to see.
Like, what happens exactly? Like, what goes on? And I think that PM can do that, and I hope that one day. Oh, I said PM again. You're not my P. I hope Kun can do that. And like I said, I hope to see more adult series, and I hope to see a series from him going into that lane. But let's close it out here. Like, I almost forgot what I was supposed to say. Holy crap.
She's being
delirium. I'm a squirrel. Okay, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. Comments are open. Please leave comments. Type away. We love your comments. There's one commenter that just leaves this essay, and I freaking love it because it just breaks down and it affirms a lot of what we're saying, and it's honest, and I love that. So don't even like be afraid that if you leave something long, we're not gonna want to read it. Trust me, I sit and I read it and I dig it. So yes, like I said, please come back if you want to hear more thoughts on why.
Interact with us on social media. We really do respond to you guys, and we really enjoy it.
Yes. And with that,
this has been Jay,
and this has been Lay. Bye.